Okay, today we're going to be talking about unresponsive mass. So unresponsive mass is that strange natural force, that or unnatural force that even when you do things and they make sense, it seems like it doesn't matter. It seems like it doesn't matter if you're right. It seems like it doesn't matter if you make sense, if you do the work, that it's just not, it's never going to change regardless. That's called unresponsive mass. So we know everything I'm saying makes sense logically, and we can even examine it and track it through physiological observation, right? But for some reason, we always feel resetted by some force of nature, some unnatural force. I think it's unnatural. And I think that there's some good examples of reasons that this might be occurring. So, two examples is, let's say you ask someone on a date, right? And you make the plans, you set the place, the time, and the day, right? And then you show up to the date, and that person does not. Here you've logically structured, you've made it tangible, and you've even agreed to it, yet it still does not occur. A person has made the decision to deny logical occurrence, to they've, no matter what made sense, chosen to just say no anyway, leaving dead-ended logical work and structure. Let's say I tell everyone to wash the dishes as they use them so that the dishes don't load up, right? That's gross. And they just say, no, we don't want to. And they choose not to do that. And the dishes pile up, and when they pile up, nobody wants to do them. So what happens is, even when it makes sense and you don't do it, it's creating a occurrence. It's a type of occurrence. It's pretty much every time someone is right and people still deny or remove them in exchange for their irrational desires. It creates a force, a result that is unchanging and irrational. It's unchanging and irrational. Even if you make sense, it won't participate. Even if you make sense, it won't participate. And it is the collective mass of every time we make the decision to decide to do something that doesn't make sense, to decide not to participate in something that makes sense. It is that collective mass growing. And the more that we choose to do illogical things. So let's say, I don't want this napkin. I was intending on using it more. I only ripped a piece of it off because whatever. Let's say, logically speaking, I'm tired, but I know that I would feel better if I cleaned the dishes and I took a shower, right? But I decide not to clean the dishes and take a shower. I have added to that mass. I've added to that mass. And the more that mass is there, the more that mass grows, the more that unresponsive, irrational mass is developed by our choosing not to follow logical structure, the easier it is for us not to do things logically. So let's say I have a history of just making illogical decisions, right? Of just deciding to ignore what makes sense and just go back and just decide that it doesn't matter, I don't want to, right? The more that I develop that mass, the more that mass is developed, the more that we all shared, the more likely I am to not take a shower and do the dishes even when I want to and it makes sense for me to. Because this unresponsive mass just sort of gets on top of all structure and weighs it down and says, I don't care. No, I don't care. No, you're all talk. I don't care. No, you have to actually do it. I don't care. And what that does is, for some reason, while saying that you have to do it in order for it to respect you, it's also pushing you away from doing it. And so as I explain everything that's going on, everything that holds life together, everything that makes this happen, and it makes sense while I'm saying it, but then a couple of hours later we come back to think about it, and it just seems like it doesn't matter that it made sense. It doesn't matter that we believed it. It doesn't matter that it was real. earlier. This unresponsive mass says, I don't care. No, I don't care. I don't care. Why does it make sense now? Explain to me why it makes sense now. That's what this unresponsive mass is doing. A dead mass, right? I have to say that to make a logical connection. So, I'm very confident that that is what's causing a general forced disbelief in things that already make sense. That even when it already makes sense, the logical structures sound like, yeah, that actually tracks. That makes a lot of sense. This unresponsive mass just comes in and disorients everything and says, I don't care. Because every time somebody was right, and let's say like every time a person says, every time two people do a job and they both did the same amount of work and they get money, right? And one guy says, I don't fucking care if we did the same amount of work, I want more of the money. Every time that happens, they've abandoned and destroyed logical structures that make everybody safe, that make everybody sane, and that protect and keep real life happening. And so every time there's a decision in which someone chooses to be unfair, unreasonable, irrational, it creates a point of occurrence that gets added to this mass. And this mass says, y'all don't care. Yeah, but y'all don't care though. Yeah, but you don't care though. Y'all don't care when it makes sense. Yeah, but you don't care though. Oh, you want to care now that it benefits you, but you don't care though, remember? And that's what it's doing. And what it's also doing, it's almost kind of saying that if we don't know what it's doing or how it's doing it, then we can't be sure that it's doing it. We can't be certain. And so even as I explain what's going on, I want you to observe, pay attention. As I explain that this is what's happening and it makes sense, I want you to pay attention to how it happens again. That for some reason, even though we know that this is what's happening, it'll seem like we still need to prove something. That's what it'll seem like. It'll seem like for some reason there's just this irrational argument. And remember, this is the argument that destroys everything. This is the argument that makes everything stop. The argument that, yeah, so what, you're right. I'm still not going to do it. It's a person. It is a sentient thing. It's like whenever you tell a teenager, you know, hey, stop being so entitled and mean and rude, right? And they go, I don't give a fuck you, right? It's this, but happening on the existential level. Existence seems to be mad. Existence seems to be like somebody who's like pissed off and like, no, fuck you guys. No, you guys are fucking assholes. Well, that's what you guys do. And so that's what's going on. So this is actually what's going on. I don't care what you say, but I guarantee you, in a day or two, when I bring this up, whenever I rethink it, it's gonna be all like, it doesn't matter though, or no, that's not real. It's just irrational, illogical. That's what this is. Okay.